Hello and welcome to the final whistle. My name's Kenzie Benali.
And I'm Steve Forbes.
Well, it finishes Southampton 1, Everton 2 here at St Mary's Stadium. And rejoining us for the final whistle is two former Saints captains, Klaus Lindick-Varm and Dean Hammond. Dean, we'll come to you first to get your general thoughts on today's match.
I suppose, Kenzie, just disappointment again. It's 3 defeats in a row, and probably 3 defeats that could have been avoided, to be honest. So I think that's the frustration. I think in the first half it was little bit of a non-event, a lack of real quality from both teams, a lack of intensity really from both teams. Maybe that was from the change of formation or the change of
have just lost Dean there. Hopefully he'll be rejoining us shortly. Here he is. Here he is. Fantastic. Sorry, Dean. Please carry on. We've lost vision here, so we can hear you, but we can't see you. So when your sound went, we really panicked.
No, I was just saying, I think in the first half, just a lack of quality from both teams. Didn't seem to be the intensity that we expected from Southampton. Poor decisions on the ball in possession. Looked a little bit nervous, to be honest. That could have been down to the amount of changes. I think the change in formation is the first time we played 4-2-2-2 this season. And then the game came to life in the second half with a mad 5 minutes where Southampton took the lead with a fantastic goal. And then the disappointment would be conceding so quickly afterwards. Then Shea Adams having a fantastic chance, and then Everton going down the other end and getting the second goal. So just a crazy 5 minutes, which again, I think the goals could have been avoided. That would have been the frustration as well. And then some good endeavour, some good effort from the players, created some chances. But just that quality in the final moments really is letting Southampton down at the moment in both boxes, whether that's defending or attacking. And that's difficult at this level, especially in the Premier League. If you can't take your chances and you're conceding goals, it's difficult to win games, and that was the case again today. So I can't say Everton deserved to win the game, but they did, and that would be the disappointment.
Yeah, we will go on to discuss more specific moments in the game in more depth shortly. But for now, Klaus, it'd be great to hear your general thoughts on today's game.
Yeah, sure, Kenzie. Obviously, I agree with Dean on a very poor first half from both teams. Not much happening at all. A nervous sort of first 45. Second half, we come off the blocks, score the first goal, taking the league. It's a crucial point in the game on this level, and obviously Aribo, a great goal. From there, it's so crucial. It's absolutely. It's such an important point for the last sort of 2-3 minutes after scoring a goal to not concede, and that's what we do. Not only 1 but 2, and from there on, obviously, like Dean said, it's like I said, it's unforgivable to concede those goals. If we lack in what I see, obviously experience. There's a lot of young players in the team, a lot of changes today, like Dean said, a bit of a nervousness of the team as well. But from there on, we're chasing the game, and obviously Adam Armstrong, I thought, had a good impact on the game. We had some good chances towards the end, but we was not to be today. A very, very disappointing loss at home at St Mary's.
Dean, you did mention about the number of changes Ralph made, including giving 3 Saints players their full debuts today. Could that have been part of the reason it was such a dysfunctional or disjointed first half?
Yeah, that could be one of the reasons, Steve. I agree with that. The 2-week period without a game as well could have played a part. I thought the players that came in today did okay. but probably if you look at it and you're completely honest, they're not quite up to speed yet, and that's not necessarily their fault. That takes time. You need games to be able to get up to the level of the Premier League. So they all did okay. The change of formation as well, I think, just made it a little bit disruptive. Where really we've been playing a 4-3-3 most of the season, and that's worked for us. So why this change of formation again? I think that was to try and have a bigger threat on the game, to create more chances, and we didn't do that in the first half. But we finished the game strong. The players reacted from going behind, which they've done all season. So you have to compliment on that in terms of reacting from disappointment and trying to get back in the game. But it was probably just that little bit of quality that we're talking about. With, the Shea Adams scores at 1-1, where I think he should do. He probably has a too heavy a touch and probably tries to take too long to score. Adam Armstrong probably should score the first attempt with the volley, but he's aware of the Everton player coming behind him. And then the chance right at the end in stoppage time from Shileta Shah, where really, again, he should come in and score and get a point for Southampton. So the Debutants did okay, but did it disrupt things? Yeah, potentially. But it just wasn't Southampton's day, I think, Steve.
Well, let's discuss that crazy 5 minutes, as you described it, Dean, starting with Joe Aribo's goal, which of course put Southampton ahead, Klaus, and it was a well-worked goal. Talk us through that one.
Yeah, it's very nicely played by Southampton, obviously coming off the first half, coming into the second half with a lot of energy and positivity. And I think the whole, obviously I'm not watching the live feed now, but it's very nicely built up, and the play from Shea Adams, just tucking him back into Aribo and taking an extra touch to get the best sort of shot off, and a great sort of leading goal for us. And we got the momentum at that time. So, great goal.
Dean, we'll stick with Joe Aribo because we
and I think he will get better and better if he has that consistent run in the team. And they find a position for him, really. I think he's played up front so far, he's played wide, he's played centrally. So I think if he can cement down a position within the team and consistently play there, I think he can score goals at this level and have good contribution, because he can dribble with the ball, he can go past people, and he's involved in the game a lot, which you need your better players to be. So he did, again, another player that did okay today, but he took his goal very, very well. So you want to see him in those positions more, because I think it was his goal against Leeds. Again, he was very, very composed. He took his time. He didn't rush it. And that was an example of that again today. So he has that quality, and I think he'll get better and better.
Klaus, barely 3 minutes later and Everton equalised. What went wrong defensively for you there?
Well, I think when the crosses come in, obviously, I think it's James Ward-Prowse and Niles at the back post is end of the day too weak. They're not sort of it's Anuna. I think it's the Everton player at the back post who gets up quite early and they can't defend it. The sort of header going across the box again, and we're not aware in the box, and it's 2-1. And I think it happened so quickly, and it's like I said, it's one of those especially as a defender, you want to make sure when you score a goal, you need to you need to keep it tight. You need to be organised, and you need to make sure everyone is in their place. And we're not at this instance. And when this cross is coming in, it's a set piece. We can organise ourselves, and the back post. We obviously it's a strong header from the Everton player, but we get beat, and obviously when the cross coming in from the header, we're not aware again, and it's 2-1, and from there we're chasing the game. It happens, and it happens all the time, but it's in these crucial moments you need to be leaders. You need to be organising your team, especially from set pieces, straight after you taking a lead or concede a goal. It's where the game is lost or won. So unfortunately for us today, we concede on a set piece.
Yeah, barely 2 minutes after Conor Coady's equaliser, we thought that Che Adams should have put the ball in the net for Saints down one end, and then all of a sudden Everton are down the other, and it's Dwight McNeil, that puts Everton in the lead, Dean.
Yeah, again, like I said, it was a crazy 5 minutes. And you're right. I mean, the opportunity for Che Adams, I think it's a poor pass from Tarkowski. I think it gets intercepted by Aribo. A lovely reverse pass to Che Adams, and I think he's aware that he has time, and he has a little bit of a heavy touch, which gives Pickford a chance to make some ground out and narrow the angle and make it difficult for Che. But then the ball gets down the other end, and I think. I can't remember who crosses it for Everton, but we don't get out to the ball. We don't press the ball to stop the cross. It's a little bit too easy. We're a little bit open. And Kyle Walker-Peters just comes a little bit narrow. And I think, again, it's that small detail where he does the right thing to come narrow, to stop the Everton player getting a free header. But he's unaware that Dwight McNeil was behind him. And I think if he is aware of that situation, he actually tries to defend the first ball and win the first contact, and actually tries to head it instead of letting it go. I think he thinks it's going to run out of play, and then he doesn't have the chance to recover to get the ball quick enough. He is a lunging dive to try and tackle and try and block the shot, and the keeper has no chance. It goes into the near post with such power from Dwight McNeil. So it's just that little bit of awareness and that little bit of detail in both boxes. If Shea scores, Southampton are 2-1 up. If Kyle Walker-Peters headers the ball, it remains at 1-1. So it's those vital moments where I think just the players need to be a little bit more aggressive. Maybe in the finish, Shea could be a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more belief, and Kyle Walker-Peters can be a little bit more aggressive and think, I'm just going to head this, whatever. If I'm not sure what's behind me, I deal with the first contact and I header it. And Southampton are not far away, but these moments are costing them at the moment.
There was plenty of endeavour from Southampton towards the end, wasn't there, Klaus? But ultimately, no goal. What wasn't quite clicking in the final third today? I mean, Dean's just said there perhaps a lack of aggression from the likes of Shea, but what would you say on that?
Yeah, I think, like Dean said, I think Aribo is a quality player. He needs to get on the ball as much as he can. Obviously, James Ward-Prowse being in the sort of sitting midfield player, he can only contribute where his play is. Obviously, I think we're lacking some sort of. We were talking about before the game today. Obviously, Stuart Armstrong being in the team today. I like Stuart Armstrong a lot. He can create things. He can pass people. He can sort of make things happen. He had a few moments today where he showed his qualities. But overall, I think even though we're chasing the game, like Dean said, Che Adams had a few chances, and I thought Adam Armstrong had a good impact. Like I said, when he came on, should have scored on the first sort of volley he had, like Dean said. But overall, I'm just thinking that we're lacking that sort of final third quality, and where it's going to come from. It's down to sort of players, individual players taking responsibility and sort of taking charge of the game. I know it's difficult. It's Premier League, and there's a lot of young players in the team today. There's a lot of changes and a bit of nervousness and all this. But end of the day, games in the Premier League is won or loss in these moments we're talking about. And today we're actually failing, unfortunately.
Well, we'll put today to bed and we'll have a little focus on our next opponents, because there's no easy games in the Premier League, but it doesn't get much tougher than a trip to the Etihad to face the champions Manchester City. Dean, what are your early thoughts ahead of that match?
You're right, Steve. It doesn't come any tougher than against Man City. But Southampton always seem to raise their game against the bigger teams in the division, and especially against Man City. They've always seemed to put really good performances in. Ralph tactically always seems to does well against Man City, whether he presses them, whether he holds a shape. We seem to create opportunities, not too many, but we do create opportunities against Man City. So I think, look, whatever the situation, whatever form you're coming into the game, you've got to believe that you can win any game. You've got to believe that you can perform in any game, and you've got to believe that you can get some sort of result in any game. And the players have to have that, whoever you're playing against. But Man City are one of the best teams, or if not the best team in Europe, and they've got some fantastic players. So as individual players, you want to test yourself against the best, and collectively you want to test yourself against the best. So there's a chance for the players to respond and put in a good performance at Man City. But it'll be tough, but you have to believe that you can get something out of it as a group.
Undoubtedly a tough fixture, isn't it, when you look at the fixture list? But as Dean said there, I mean, we always seem to put in a good performance against Manchester City. So with that in mind, Klaus, how are you feeling ahead of that trip up north next week?
Well, you've got to be positive, and from now on to kick off against Man City away, it's all about creating positivity. It's picking yourself up, it's having good day-to-day training. It's building team morale. It's going to City, like Dean said, in a very strong belief that you can actually get something, because Man City is probably one of the best sides in the world at the moment. They got so much quality, and if they click, it's very, very difficult to get the ball off them, and to defend against such a good side, if you're not sort of, as a team, very, very good organised, and sort of in a very good frame of mind of positivity. I think it's going to be, obviously we've seen so many times against Man City and quality sides, we do pick ourselves up and we make it hard for them to beat us, and hopefully that can be the case this time around, but we need to be 100%.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Dean and Klaus, thank you so much for joining us today on Saints Live and on the final whistle. Well, it was a quick-fire double that sinks the Saints on the south coast, and a 2-1 loss to Everton at home to St Mary's. Next time out, it is a trip up to the Etihad to face Manchester City. It's on Saturday the 8th of October, a 3 p.m. kickoff, so we'll be with you for another Saints Live from 1:45 on that day. Have a good weekend, and we'll see you later.
Bye for now.